Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's another film of that classic superhero showing up after years of failed attempts and broken promises from prominent movie studios to deliver us the Boy Scout in the clouds. Surely this will be the time they actually get it right. It's Superman. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm leaving the theater. All right, this is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing Superman. Superman, written and directed by James Gunn, starring David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Eddie Gathegi, Anthony Carrigan, Nathan Fillion, and Isabela Merced. And as usual, for a complete cast listing, you can go to the link in our show notes. I am not here alone. I am here with the critically acclaimed nemesis of Nicole Hill. I am here with...
Often imitated, never duplicated, JC Howard.
Often imitated. That was a shot right at you, Nicole Hill. This is just for you. We are building Leave the Theater Laura constantly here.
Oh no, we're just getting started. We're just getting started here.
Yeah, he's cracking his knuckles. He has something in his pocket. I'm not sure. Everyone just be careful out there, all right?
I'll tell you now, it's brass knucks. Yeah.
It's brass knucks.
It's brass knucks.
All right. We went and saw Superman, which is the reboot of the, popular DC property. You probably already heard of it. It is one that is being highly anticipated. It is basically restarting the DC cinematic universe. It is with their new head, James Gunn, who is meant to unify all of the heroes and create a new bit of synergy for the DC cinematic universe. So we're going to see how this goes. We just saw the movie. It is a Superman film. Y'all know typically the plot of that. I won't get into what that is, but with all of that being said, JC Howard, what did you think of this movie?
Superman is charming. That's my big takeaway. I don't think I've ever seen, in terms of, well, I should say, it's been a long time since I've seen a Superman as charming and kind of just likable as this. Like, I don't like Superman, generally speaking, because he's such a Boy Scout, like it's hard to relate to someone who's just like, I'm gonna take my vitamins and drink milk and like be such a good, like, this is something that it adds more layers of complexity and complication to Superman. You see Superman get mad at several points in this movie, and he's certainly, without saying too much, he's certainly more human in this than he is in any other kind of Superman property. So I thought it was charming. I also thought that it was talk heavy, which I love. Like, I don't generally love action movies that are just all set pieces and just like, mostly CGI. I think the thing about this one is, so actually I saw a clip from Rick and Morty. They did a get together of James Gunn and Zack Snyder, who's also known for being involved doing writing and directing for the Superman franchise. Most recently
Justice League.
The Justice League. There we go. That's it. Yes. Justice League. And so anyway, in the Rick and Morty clip, you have Zack Snyder and James Gunn talking to each other. And Zack Snyder says to James Gunn, I want you to know that he's the man of steel, not the man of conversation. And I think that is a good way of like picturing this movie, there's a lot more conversation, but I think the conversation is good. It's like, it's a little bit political philosophy in a lot of ways, but not boring. It's like, it's complex, and I dig this film.
I think this movie is the best Superman film that I've seen, and that includes all of the reboots, whatever, Brandon Routh, all of that. It's the best Superman film that I've seen, and I will keep out the animated films. Anything Justice League related, anything that made with a live-action Superman that I've seen that was not Donner or any of that stuff back then, any of the new ones that have come out in recent years, I'd say the last 20 years, I think this is the best Superman film I've seen in that regard. And it is a charming movie. I agree with that. I think it's charming. I think obviously I knew it was going to be quick-witted because James Gunn is good with his pen, so I expected that. I think the characters are mostly good. I think there are too many. I think they really kicked it into high gear. My issues with this movie that I think could prevent it from being a great movie is that they made a choice and they decided to make this movie a sequel with the original coming from our imaginations. And when I say that, I mean, like, they walked into this being like, y'all know who Superman is, y'all know where he's from, y'all know he's with Lois Lane, y'all know who Lex Luthor is, we're just gonna drop you right in the middle of the action, which isn't a problem, but it can be a problem when you think about character development. And I, as the audience member, still needed to know, what is the motivation for these characters right now? And for Lex Luthor, we don't really get that motivation until the very end of the movie in a way that I don't think was serviceable, given everything that he had done over the course of this entire film. So, like, I think for people who are like, is it good? Yes, it's good. Is it great? No, it is not. I do not think this is a great Superman movie. I do think this is a very good DCEU movie. I think this is a middle of the road Marvel movie.
Yeah. I would agree with you about Lex Luthor for sure. The rest of them, I would disagree. I would say that I do not need motivation for almost anyone except Lex Luthor in this case, because over time you have seen Lex Luthor has, in every single iteration of Lex Luthor, he has some sort of different motivation. So it would have been good to get that more upfront, because you really are waiting until the last maybe 20 minutes to really dig into why he's doing what he's doing. But everybody else, nah, man, I got it. Like, if you have ever seen Superman before, just carry it over. You know, like, carry the one. It's all the same. It's like Superman's motivation, Clark Kent's motivation, Lois Lane's motivation, Jimmy Olsen's motivation. Like, it's all the exact same. So I'm totally for. I appreciate that as, like, because we're in the era of reboots and remakes and those kinds of things. I don't need you to reinvent the wheel. I need you to, like, extend it. I need you to give me more. I already know who these characters are. Don't talk to me like I don't know who they are. Give me something deeper about them. So I did appreciate that.
I will say that the only pushback I would say to that is that works for you and I, but there's a whole new character of folks, a whole new set of people that are being introduced to Superman right now. And I feel like in terms of any bit of origin, you really have to trust that if you brought your 5 or 6 year old child to see Superman, that I guess you're going to leave the theater telling them about all of the origins and stuff, that he's from Kansas, who his parents are, that he was an orphan, all of that stuff, right?
His parents are from Kansas, but they have some interesting accents in this movie, I will say.
They do.
Yeah, but that said, I don't know if you're taking your 5 or 6 year old to see this movie, partially because of the content. Like, I mean, it's at least a 13, like PG. Is the rating PG-13? I'm sure it is, just based on the language, that some of the language that was in the film. So, I mean, I think that I would defy you to find me a person who's going to see this who has never seen anything to do with Superman before. Like, I can guarantee you, even if it's the Snyder Cut, Justice League, Batman vs Superman, the animated series, they have some foundation of who Superman is. And so, like, I'm good on the origin stories for now.
I know you and I are, but I think what I'm saying is they are banking on that for this. And I don't know, for me, we won't know how wise of a move that is until we see, like, the money comes through. That being said, I mean, for a film that's about Superman, it really should have been called Superman in Crypto, because the dog is like, he is so important to the plot. He's integral. He bails Superman out in ways that I was like, I don't think that should have happened. I don't know if the dog is the one that saves the day in this moment. And then on top of that, I'm reminded, I used to watch Superman the Animated Series growing up on Saturdays, and I used to watch it with my father. And I remember my father would come in and just stand there for a minute watching it and watch Superman like drop something or be like struggling with a monster. And he'd be like, man, this Superman is really weak. And that was something that was in my head for this entire film, because for nearly 2 hours, we watched a Superman get pummeled. I mean, so much so that I'm actually struggling for a moment in here in which I was like, man, Superman was either he was working by himself and completely saved the day, which did not happen, or he was in such control of the situation that he felt as heroic as I've known him. And I feel like that also did not happen, which for me, that I feel like that's, if you're going to make me watch him get beat up for an hour and 30 minutes, then I feel like the last 15 minutes, I just want to see him go Super Saiyan and like really do some work. And we really don't get that in this movie.
That is true. I'm on the side of, look, I feel like I'm the defender of this movie in this particular case, because I like all that. Like I love that. Like, I think that what you're getting at is kind of a problem of the character of Superman. Like, he's and it's from all the way back in the foundation of the whole character of, like, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, can leap tall buildings in a single bound. Like, that's not interesting. Like, it's only going to be interesting if your main character is able to be beaten, unless you can see them have a comeback. Now, what I will grant you is he didn't really get to have the comeback, because
he did not.
There's a lot of him being helped out. But I will say that, like, I don't need as much of the, like, and again, part of it is because I've already seen it. But to your point, you got to see it in this movie. You got to, like, people are wanting to see that out of Superman.
And with that being said, I feel like the one thing that we get is there's a point where he's fighting these things called raptors. And as a matter of fact, the same raptors that Mr. Terrific in this film, which we'll save a moment for, but Mr. Terrific in this film just sliced through like they were nothing. Like butter, just beat the trash out of them. And it's funny because he shows up and they say, oh, don't worry, he's the smart one, which was a funny joke because then he proceeds to beat the trash out of them. So I feel like there's parts of this where I know they're making choices, but at some point, if we're talking about a Justice League in the future, what this looks like, when you set the power dynamic of saying Superman is the most powerful metahuman of all time, when you start adding in things like Wonder Woman, and we've already seen the Green Lantern, like there's parts of this film where I'm not certain how he fits in terms of team building, if his whole thing isn't brute strength and force.
Counterpoint, if he was so brute strength and forcey, he wouldn't need a team. Like, I mean, that's the thing that has always kind of gotten me about the Justice League, which I loved. I mean, I loved the Justice League growing up. But, like, if Superman is all the Superman is, why does he need why does he need a billionaire Batman? Like, he can do it all. So I think that having a flawed or, like, having a superhero with some weakness, it helps. But that said, this is a superhero movie, and there was a little bit of, like, just as, like, stepping back from what I think and, like, and my experience with Superman, just stepping back and looking at this as a genre film, you need to have the superhero doing superhero things if you're going to make it a superhero movie.
I think the last thing I'll say about that is, and it wasn't the weakness. I feel like they did a very good job of showing the weakness. There's a scene especially towards the end of the movie, where he's fighting in a particular boss battle in which he is losing, getting beat up, and then the tides turn, and then they unturn the tides, and I'm like, come on, man. We've seen him get kryptonited. We started the movie with him being, like, in his own blood. Like, there's just been several instances in this film where we've seen it just get the snot beat out of him. And towards the end, I'm like, come on, man. There's the sun. Let's get it. Like, let's get to the point.
Speaking of which, the score, man.
Score was fantastic.
The score was fantastic. You had that John Williams, very classic original Superman theme all throughout. But yes, anyway, all to say, I loved the score. I did need him to rally. Like, as a Superman film, you need him to rally a little bit more.
The last thing I'll say before we get to ratings is, like, the bit characters, Green Lantern, the Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Hawk Girl. I loved all three of them, and I'm ready to see more of them in future films. Obviously, they chose these three roles and these three people because it's less expensive to make a movie with them, and then you can also test them with the audience to see if you can make other properties with them. And suffice it to say, I think Mr. Terrific might get more backstory in the coming films and days.
I was scared. I was really afraid that, like, when I saw Nathan Fillion in the bowl cut, I was like, what is his role in this movie going to be as the Green Lantern? And having seen it now, I'm like, this was great.
He was fantastic.
It was perfect. It was spot on. It was exactly what it needed to be, and it wasn't. Anyway, as I've said, I don't like the earnestness of a lot of superhero properties generally. And this was not earnest. It was real. It was the James Gunn of it all, right? It was the Peacemaker, just the attitude. It was the superheroes plus the attitude. So I agree. Hawk Girl, all these side characters. I will say that some of the side characters in the Daily Planet, like the folks in the newspaper, there was a little bloat there, and we've talked about this before, the waste of Wendell Pierce, but other than that bloat there, the other side characters, I'm for them.
Yeah, that's one thing towards the end of the film. This film could have gone off the rails, and it stays on. I want to just say barely. It stays on, but because towards the end, there are multiple threats. There is a battle going on in a different country. There is the fabric of reality being ripped from one end to the other, and there's some news reporters that have to post a story that are flying in the air, and we're trapped between all of these things happening, and there's several scenes in which you have to jump, and I feel like they kept it enough, but every time I saw the reporters on screen, I remember thinking we did not need them in this part of the film at all, like not all whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. There was a lot of bloat in that. You didn't need it at all. It really felt like it's, okay, we need them to be somewhere, so let's put them in the air, and I just big shrug of my shoulders.
There was a way I think they could have just left them on the in the Daily Bugle or Planet or wherever,
in a different part of the city, like anywhere. But they had to be dramatic, is what it was. Not for me.
With all of that being said, JC Howard, you know how the rating system is. It's out of 5 stars. What do you give this film out of 5 stars?
This film gets a 4.3. And because part taking off some of the points for all that bloat, particularly with the Daily Planet. And this is, mind you, as someone who does not really like Superman, but this is the most interesting Superman I think I've seen on screen since Lois and Clark. I don't know if you remember that TV show.
Dean Cain.
Yes, Dean Cain. Terry Hatcher is Lois Lane. This is the most interesting Clark and Lois, like the most interesting cast of characters, really, since the Adventures of Lois and Clark. So I think I would rate this movie, as they say.
I would give this movie a 3.5. I think that I think this is a good DCEU film. I think this is a good start to the rest of their universe. But it didn't quite, like I said, I wanted this movie to be great. And I think there are people that left the theater clapping and hooting that definitely think this movie is great. I think one of the things that kind of that play into its not so greatness is that for fans of Superman, this is a 5-star movie. If you love Superman, you're going to give this movie 1,000,000 stars. I think for me, who is a fan of superheroes and the superhero genre, and I've watched a lot of these over the last 2 decades, I feel like exactly. I feel like watching this film, I just was like, this was definitely better than you've done before. It's better than Man of Steel. It's better than Superman Lives or Returns or whatever it was. Better than that one. And I am looking forward to new entries. I am looking forward to what comes next as a result of Superman. But this one, for me, it was a good movie. It was not a great movie, but I still think it was good enough to say I do want to see it again. And I would give it 3.5 stars for that reason. I
love to hear it. I am very much here for the lore. I'm here for the lore of leaving the theater, here for the lore of Superman. I'm here for it.
I love it. And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of It's Big Brown Studios. I mixed this episode, and by the time you're listening to this, you heard an episode of Jurassic World, which came out late last week. It came out on Tuesday instead of Monday. And that was just because there was a plugin that expired on my Adobe Audition, and I didn't realize that I could just re-up it or how to re-up it, or the process of which re-upping it until Monday. And then I had to pay to do that. All right. So sometimes money prevents me from getting things done. You know what helps us out? Joining the Patreon, patreon.com/leaving the theater. If you join the Patreon, you get access to my vlog, which I swear I'm going to update soon. This is starting to become part of the Leaving the Theater lore, but I swear to you, it is going to be updated soon. I'm swearing because I'm saying soon, so I feel like that is an oath that I can actually upkeep. I affirm this is going to happen very, very soon. But other than that, stick with me because you help the show to exist. Go to patreon.com/leaving the theater or go to the link in our show notes to help us out right now. Show art from Heather Wilder. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. For more information about Superman or JC Howard, check out our show notes. You can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, Threads, or Letterboxd at Oh It's Big Ron. That's at OHITSBIGRON. You can find out more about this show and other Oh It's Big Ron Studios shows by following us on Instagram at Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being on the show.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the Man of Steel now.
Perfect. I was like, look.